in this game, you realize that most decisions are already made before you even enter the room. And today, I had a meeting, walked into the meeting. We're sitting around the board table, and the CEO founder, he started talking about the vision and things that he wanted to get done. And everybody was chiming in. Everybody had their input. Everybody was talking about, their great ideas. And I started to see it was going in one ear and out the other. And because one thing I want to do is, like, when I get to the first meeting, I always want to observe like how they come to their decisions and how they make their plans. So I'm just listening to everybody talking. Some of the ideas were good. Some of them were just random and had nothing to do with, how somebody raised their hand and they all start talking. It's like way off subject. So it's like, yeah, so he had some of those. But then you had the CEO, he's talking and he's like, here's our vision for the next 6 months. Here's how much money we're trying to make. Here's what we could make. We're on track to close XYZ. But he asked a question, and his question was, how do we change? And they had a product line, and he asked a question, and everybody started giving their ideas, started giving their 2 cents. They started saying we should do this and we should do it like this. Or I read up on this and I thought this. And I'm just like, yep, he is not listening to y'all. Because one, you brought me in, right? So I already knew that you had already made a decision that had nothing to do with the people in the room. And it made me think about times where you walk into a room thinking you're about to have a meeting that's going to be collaborative and productive. But at the end, it was just an announcement of, hey, this what we're about to do. And you like, bro, y'all could have emailed this. Like, you could have just sent me an email and said, this is what you about to do, because I'm gonna just follow in line. I'm a soldier, right? But it allows me to really, like, every time I go and I meet with anybody, I talk to anybody, it allows me to sharpen my craft, because I start to see every environment is different. The way that people put together decisions is different. The way that people plan and have meetings and come out the meetings with a charge plan is so different, even if it's the same situation. I think about it often because in the NIL and the revenue space and the athletic space, everybody talks about the money. Well, the money is one piece, and recruiting is a piece, compliance is a piece, academics is a piece, contracts is a piece. And it's like every one of those pieces are making decisions based on their role. And they walk into a meeting already having made a decision on what was going to happen. This is more so. This is how we're gonna do it. This is how I'm gonna do it. This is how I'm gonna do it. And you wonder why the athletic space is so all over the place. Is because it's so fragmented in the practitioner space, where you got compliance, you got academics, you got the strength staff, the medical staff, you got new roles that's being created. You have GMs, you got recruiting, you got high school recruiting, then you have the portal, then you got your current roster recruiting. These are all decisions that are happening all day long. But the people making decisions are making decisions from their space. So when you go into the meeting, you're only having a conversation about what you're about to do. So I'm looking at it, I'm saying to myself, okay, if you're gonna do this and you're gonna do this, and you said you was gonna do this and you don't know what you're gonna do, I'm gonna aggregate all that, put it all together, and I'll say, here's the ultimate goal though. And based on everything that you guys said you was gonna do, here's how we have to attack this. And I'm gonna give you a couple options, but it's gonna consider everybody's job, not everybody's opinion, because I don't want to sit down and talk to you about your opinion or your ideas. I want to know, based on your role in this situation, what are you focusing on? What do you have to do? What are you focused on? What do you have to do? And then you start to realize there's like 9 different decisions in one situation. Sign an athlete, great. Sign an athlete, okay. Contract, legal, academics, compliance. He got an agent, don't have an agent, got a momager. Like, it's so many people that are coming into the space. And whenever you're sitting down with, say you're sitting down with an athlete, he or she has a decision that they've already made. I'm going to this school. Then you go sit down, you talk to the agent, and they're like, yeah, we're just shopping around the, we just kind of want to know, like, what the market is going to say. And then you sit down with compliance, like, yeah, he don't even qualify to get in here. So they already said, we're not even bringing this kid into the school. He don't qualify. On recruiting, I already said, yep, I really want this guy because he can play. The agent is saying, nah, I don't really want to choose this school because there ain't enough money. And the athlete was like, man, I love this school. I love the location. It's 2 hours away from home. So how do you put all that together and come up with a plan on what do you do next? So for me, I've learned that I can't be partial. I can't be biased because none of that helps. It's not adding an extra bias per person or an extra voice of opinions to the mix. Don't even move nothing forward. So we have to be neutral. We have to be one of them people that's a chameleon. You got to be bilingual, right? You understand what compliance means. You got to understand what the GM saying. You got to get what the athlete saying. Then you got to understand what the agent, who's an entrepreneur, what they're saying. So every situation requires a level of intelligence and understanding because these decisions were already made before you even sat down with them. And I'll ask you or anyone, in for that matter, have you ever walked into a room where it was a big opportunity and you went in with a decision already made?